With all the noise that is surrounding the conflict in the Balkans, we hear very little about the Middle East these days. How does Huzur appraise the situation there now as it is, especially that we know there are prophecies relating to Sham, Syria, the Syrian region, where a great cataclysm would start?
I think they have nothing to do with the present situation at all. You see, the Syrian prophecies relating to Syria have been exaggerated out of shape by the people of Middle East, who, whenever a conflict breaks out, they begin to pin high hopes to the outcome of that conflict in favor of Muslims. But the type of Muslims they are, it's impossible for God to intervene on their behalf. It's all just, a fantasy, no more than that. So every time a conflict breaks out in Iraq, everywhere elsewhere in the Middle East, they start referring to those prophecies about Syria. Now, that should be dismissed as such. Just wishful thinking, no more. As far as the Middle East is concerned, it still is drawing attention, and from time to time we have on the news media reference to continuous American bombardment of Iraq and killing of innocent civilians. Even this morning I read this news item, and also about Iran, clarification that we have not cast Iran out of the list of terrorist countries, while in fact the greatest terror which is spread by America herself. So if America is not in the list of terrorist countries, then no other country has a right to be on the list of that of terrorist countries. But unfortunately, might is right. This has not changed. America has the might, so it can do whatever she likes, and she can dictate terms to the rest of the world.
Mankind has evolved over millions of years. Does Huzur believe that mankind will evolve any further, becoming more intelligent and thus understanding the Quran better and better?
So far, their intelligence is standing in the way of their understanding the Quran, because their intelligence has taught them arrogance, and they think they are almighty in this world because of their intelligence. So I doubt if in this way the evolution of man would proceed. Intelligence would grow, of course, but not to the purpose of recognizing the creator of that intelligence. Other factors are required to create, a great explosion in the world of global nature, which would bring them back to their humility, which is essential to understand the ways of the Creator. So this growth of intelligence doesn't mean anything. But a man may evolve in a different sense, and I have spoken of that in my book at depth, in detail with reference to the Quran. I have very clear Quranic prophecies in mind in which a new species would evolve from man, which would be better behaved towards pleasing Allah in whatever way He is to be pleased. A new book may be revealed to them, but we're talking of a distant future, when this man is wrapped up altogether as man, as a species. Then the Sharia of Islam would also come to an end, because it relates to this man, not to a new type of man.
In view of the recent bombing happening in London, would Huzur be of the opinion that Neo-Nazism is on the rise? And how, in Huzur's view, could the British authorities deal with this problem to eradicate Neo-Nazism completely?
If this Neo-Nazism was addressed entirely and solely to the Asians and other non-British people, then it perhaps would have been more difficult for the British government to handle this problem. But fortunately for the non-Britons, this is also addressed against the Jews, which are a very powerful community in Britain. In British politics, they dominate. So they'll take over. They will handle the problem all right.